having a tough time with sales is kind of just a perception. It's you just making a statement about something. What if we changed I'm not good at sales into I'm learning to get better at sales? I can almost guarantee if you take another 5 sales calls, holding on to the belief of I'm doing this to learn to get better at sales, you'll close a client. I can almost guarantee it. Well, it's like, well, who said that not closing 8 sales calls says that you're bad at sales? Like other people's standards. People will often create so much comparison and then use comparison as a standard, and then they hold themselves to that standard. You get to choose. You're in complete choice to choose what defines you, not anybody else. And you can do that for good or for bad.
Hey, y'all make sure to say what's up to Mr. Bryan Ostermiller today. Would you remind me really quick, Bryan, like kind of not your rap sheet, but like your come up, like how you got to where you are today and what's been going on over the past 5 or so years, just so people have some background before we dive into some kind of training?
It's been a hefty 8 years for me in the online marketing space. I started my career actually working for Pinterest, and I was an account manager for them, like one of the first SDRs that they hired when they launched their ad platform. And so I did that for about a year and loved it. I was one of the top account managers there. And one of the ways I brought ad spend onto the platform was I figured out if I outreached agencies that I could basically pitch them on bringing all of their clients onto Pinterest ads. And I was the one managing the ads. And I basically just sold them on the idea of like white labeling through me. And so I'd get them to sell their clients on running Pinterest ads and charge them. But then I was doing all the fulfillment through the Pinterest account manager program. So I did that for about a year. And then one day I kind of woke up and was like, I'm making $50,000 a year working for Pinterest, and I just made them over $1 million in ad spend. I wonder what would happen if I just like walked into businesses and told them I could run ads. I had to do a really hard look in the mirror and ask myself, like, what is within all these things that I do, like, what are the aspects of it that actually bring me the most joy and fulfillment? Because for a long time, it was just like business is the thing that I like. And after running a really big business, I was like, well, I actually don't really like 80% of this. I don't like board meetings. I don't like executive meetings. Like they don't bring me energy. And when I really isolated it down, I realized it was creating change in people that I love. Like the process of helping somebody go from making $5,000 a month to 15 grand a month, or a business owner going from 15 to 100. And the personal development side of it is what I'm very passionate about. And even the reason I love working with sales teams is because the best sales teams in the world have the most developed people on the team. It's never because they have the best sales method or the best marketing. It's always because they have the most well-developed people. And so for me, the engagement of taking somebody who's in a tough spot and helping them get to a great spot is the most rewarding thing for me personally. Having a tough time with sales is kind of just a perception. It's you just making a statement about something, but your belief is, oh, I'm not good at sales. So what if we changed I'm not good at sales into I'm learning to get better at sales? Because that takes you out of a disempowered state and puts you into an empowered state. And then if you approach your next 10 sales calls with the belief of I'm learning to get better at sales, all the anxiety should be gone because you're taking the pressure off yourself. Like you're just learning. And then you change it to I'm learning to get better at sales, and you move forward in action in that. And I can almost guarantee if you take another 5 sales calls, holding on to the belief of I'm doing this to learn to get better at sales, you'll close a client. I can almost guarantee it.
No, that's what's supposed to happen when you're getting better at something. Like you're supposed to fall the first time you try riding a bike. Like that's part of it.
And to give you another example, I don't play golf at all. I've never played like an 18-round game of golf in my entire life. If I was going to play golf with Blake and I was texting him and I was like, dude, I'm so good at golf, bro. Like you don't even know what's about to happen. I would have massive anxiety because that belief I know was so shit and it was me trying to trick myself and I have no experience to support that. I would have massive anxiety and I would play horrible golf because the whole time I was like trying to support this fake false belief system. But if I texted with Blake and I said, hey, dude, I've never played golf before. I need you to be patient with me. This is going to be me learning as I go. All the anxiety's gone. And then it would be a remarkably fun, we'd probably laugh, and a great experience because the belief going into it was correct. In the same way, if you're holding on to this idea of like, I either need to be great at sales or I suck at sales, it's going to, of course, induce anxiety. But then you reframe those unclosed calls into learning experiences, all the anxiety is gone, and you get to just keep moving forward and learning. A lot of us learn this from our parents, right? Like, how many of us had parents that like they did one thing for their career and then you'd heard them say like, no, I suck at X. Like, yeah, I'm just a plumber. I can't do math. We watched our parents create these segregations of cans and can'ts, which is so stupid because we all have the same brain. Like, we can all do whatever we decide to do. And what I always hold true is the only truth is the truth that I create, right? And so if I say, yeah, I suck at sales, well, I just created that truth. But if I also say, no, I'm learning to be great at sales, or even just to have the courage to say, I believe I'm great at sales, well, which one's more correct? I suck at sales, or I believe I'm great at sales. And then people will take that and go, oh, but like, how do I reconcile it when I've taken 8 sales calls and I didn't close any of them? Well, it's like, well, who said that not closing 8 sales calls says that you're bad at sales? Like, other people's standards. And so people will often create so much comparison and then use comparison as a standard. And then they hold themselves to that standard and then they make themselves miserable. Even Blake, in the agency world, this is so important because everybody who listens to this, you know better than anybody, is 10 clients away from their life looking dramatically different than it is now. Yeah. But who gives a shit if it takes 100 calls or 500 calls or 1,000 calls to close those 10 people? Nobody. Mm-hmm. Like, it does not matter. If I take 20 calls and 10 close 10 clients, but Britton takes 100 calls to close 10 clients, who cares? Like, we both walk away with 10 clients. But with those comparisons and the belief systems, when they're incorrect, we just create our own internal misery for no reason.
If I have 7 clients, but I'm happier than if I had 15. Like, there's so many things we can go down. But man, that was a really good one for Britton. I'm sure a lot more people than just Britton got a lot out of that. But yeah, what's happening right now doesn't define you, to put it in the cheesiest way possible.
Yeah, and the best part is you get to actually choose what defines you, which is remarkably liberating. Like, you get to choose. You're in complete choice to choose what defines you, not anybody else. And you can do that for good or for bad, which is the main thing I hope everybody walks away from this, which is like, you get to consciously choose to create a beautiful life for yourself if you decide to.